today we are going to be working on an experiment so that you can learn about some principles to vegetable cooking. So there are 3 goals that you want to make sure that you achieve when you are working with vegetables. And your experiment sheet covers those 3 things. So the first one is to save the nutrients. So when you're doing these experiments today, you're going to look to see, are the nutrients being saved? The way you know that is how much color from the vegetable comes out in the water. Second thing is to save the texture. So we're going to be checking with a fork today to see, is it still crisp or is it all mushy? What happens to it when you cook it? And then the third thing is to save the color. And so in the process, if there's a color change, then you know that you've either overcooked it or you've lost some of the nutrients in the process. So your experiment sheet says to set up your mise en place, and you need a cutting board, a wooden spoon, a chef knife, a cookie sheet, and our cookie sheet is covered with foil. We need some pans for today. You're going to need a pan with water to boil your vegetables, and you're going to need a small skillet to saute your vegetables. And you'll need a casserole to do your microwave experiment. So if you're really good about dividing up your work today, you could have 1, 2, 3, 4 different experiments all going on at the same time, and that way you're very efficient with your time. So I've got a cloth underneath my cutting board so that it doesn't move around on me, and I'm going to be watching that you use your good knife skills that we've learned all during this semester. So you're going to pinch your blade, you're going to wrap your fingers around that blade, and then you're going to make sure that your tip is down to your cutting board as you're slicing your vegetables. So it says that you're going to have 2 to 3 carrots cut into 1/4 inch discs. So we're going to cut the tops off. Now, if you want to eat these later, you might want to take and peel them, but for this demonstration, I have not peeled them, I've just washed them. Okay, so then you want to make sure you use your knife skills. So we're going to cut these into little rounds, tucking my thumb back, and you want to make them about 1/4 of an inch thick. So try to be real good about watching your thickness so that you have some that are the same size. Okay, so we'll just keep cutting through those. Okay, so then you're going to use these carrots for all your different experiments. Okay, so the first experiment that it asks you to do is boiling. So it says place 2 cups of water into your pan and bring it to a boil. So here's 1 cup. So there's the second cup. And then we're going to set it on our burner, and we're going to put it on medium-high heat so that it'll heat quickly. So when that comes to a boil, then we'll add about 1/4 of a cup of carrots. Right? So then as that's going along, it asks you to record what the texture is like when you start out and what the watercolor is like as it goes along and what the color of the vegetable is. So you'll keep record, and then it also asks how long did it take for the fork to become, the carrot to become fork tender. So right now, these are really hard. Okay, so if you put texture, it should be crisp. Okay, it's very hard. And if you try to snap it, you'll hear it. Okay, so make sure you record good descriptions. So then the next one is saute. So it asks you to take and put a tablespoon of margarine into your pan. So we're going to cut off a tablespoon. And we're going to put that into our saucepan over here. And we'll get that cooking on medium heat. And then the third experiment asks us to broil. So that's where this one comes in handy. So we're going to put some carrots lined out onto this pan. And then we're going to put them in the oven. Our broil, all you hit is on the panel, you hit broil, and you hit start, and it will do the trick. So we've now got the carrots broiling in the oven. We've got my hot water is almost ready for the boiling, and I've got my butter melted for the saute. So the last thing that needs to happen is we need to get our carrots in the microwave. So this one calls for 3 tablespoons of water. There's 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to put about 1/4 of a cup of carrots in here. Okay, put the lid on, and I'll put these in the microwave. And it says to do the microwave 1 minute at a time, and then we'll see what happens. So here we go. All right, so now we've got our boiling water going on in this pan. We have our melted butter in this pan, and we're going to put some carrots into the boiling water, and some carrots into the butter. So then one of you needs to be timing 1 minute to see what happens to the carrots, and one of you needs to be timing 1 minute to see what's happening with the sauteing. And then you'll check each minute and record on your sheet what information you need to. Okay, and then the other thing that's happening is there's carrots broiling in the oven, and there's carrots in the microwave, and we'll check on those here in a minute. So it's been 1 minute, and we've taken our carrots out of the oven to see them broil, and there's the minute on the microwave. We'll check here in a second. And we also have a minute on our saute, and we have a minute on our boil. So if you look up real close at these carrots, you'll notice that the carrots in the oven are still not tender, and they look really dry, and they're kind of parched looking. So we're going to go ahead and put those back in the oven for another minute and see what they look like. Okay. The other one that we need to check on is in the microwave. And remember, we're looking for our goal to be that they are fork tender, and they have not lost color, and they have not lost texture. So when I push in, oh, fork tender, 1 minute, okay, they look still kind of bright orange, which is good. So the texture is still the same. We're going to check the color of the water here real quick. I'm going to pour it into a clear bowl here so that we can see. Right, so I've poured the water from the carrots in the microwave, and this is clear water. This is the water from the microwave, and you can see that it's lost a little bit of color. That means in the process of microwaving, we lost a few nutrients in the process. However, we did not lose very much texture, and we still maintained the color. So microwaving in 1 minute, if we did it for about 30 seconds, we might have not lost as much in the water. So microwaving might not be too bad of an option. Okay, so then the next one we're going to peek at is saute. So I've sauteed these in butter for a minute. The color still looks pretty good, and they're fork tender. I can push my fork in easily, and the color's still pretty good. And so sauteing might not be a bad idea because we've got color, the texture's still maintained, and obviously we didn't lose any of the nutrients because they're still wrapped up in that butter. So not too shabby. So then the last one we need to peek at is this was 1 minute in the boiling, and this one is almost fork tender, so we might need to cook it for 1 more minute. And looking at the water, we've got a little bit of color going on in the water as well, so we've lost a few nutrients. Okay, so then the last one was our ones in the oven, and they just are still hard as a rock. And so I'm not sure that's the best thing for this particular vegetable. So in the process, then you're going to go through 1 minute at a time. You're going to fill in your chart. In the end, it asks you some questions. How long did it take for the carrots to become fork tender? What methods produce the best cooked carrots? And which methods are not good for cooking vegetables? So we're going to talk about that, and you're going to conclude your experiment, and then you'll get all of your cooking